And welcome to the Big Gunner Podcast. Well, San Francisco 34, Giants 24. Frustrating game because we got beat at the line of scrimmage again. All the hype, all the talk about going into the season, how if we felt we got Andrew Thomas back, our offensive line would be better. And all the greatness that everybody, including all the TV commentators and NFL analysts that said Giants front is going to be one of the toughest fronts to play against. Just doesn't seem to be the case. And when you get a drive of 6 plays, 60 yards, or 8 plays, 60 yards, it comes with all runs for a touchdown. You have to sit there and analyze where you are as far as being a tough unit, tough team. Now, granted, we were missing 2 corners. Granted, we were missing our safety, and one of our inside linebackers went out early. We were missing Micah McFadden from the start of the year. This has to change. And do you blame the coordinator? I guess it falls on him. But I'm going to think that what Carl Banks did last week, calling out Dexter Lawrence, was fair. It looked like he was getting pushed around by a backup center and guard combination that the 49ers had. The 49ers probably had more injuries than we had. Missing a ton at wide receiver, starting quarterbacks out. This is tough. I knew McCaffrey would be a headache, and it turned out he was. The play that he scores a touchdown on basically is a pick play that the backup linebacker looks to try to push someone out to guard him, and he's his man. He's got to fight through it. He basically stayed in one spot, and McCaffrey gets as open a touchdown as I've seen anybody get all year, and he's their best player. You have to find a way to look at him and guard him. It's just frustrating. Third straight year we're 2-7. The season's basically done. If you don't win 8 straight, you're done. I really thought we'd play meaningful games in December. Now, this might be the last meaningful game we have. It means something. And then it becomes analyzing the team. And my thing, it goes down to this. I still like Brian Dable, as crazy as it sounds. But I'm just not I'm really upset with the front office. I saw it in, on Hard Knocks. I think it all goes back to, Joe Shane basically not offering Saquon Barkley, your best player, a deal when he's basically told by the owner he's the most popular player. And you're looking at analytics of the running back position instead of trying to go get your best player. You send him out, and he goes wins a Super Bowl on your basic team rival. And now as we look to build on what we're going to have to either save a job or, move the franchise forward, you have the guys in the South, quick south of Philadelphia, that already making moves. They get Jair Alexander, a corner, which we could use, and they get another edge pass rusher from Jalen Phillips from Miami in a weekend. Those are 2 players that are going to really help Philadelphia. In the game that we beat them, they had a problem at corner and they had a problem at the edge. They didn't get enough pressure on Dart. And there they go. They address it after one game that we show them, and they fix it. So this is my thought. Right now, it looks like, as Robert Saleh said this week, the Giants found their guy at quarterback. So all that movement for Brian Dable, who came out, leaked, I guess, that he wanted to take him at 3 instead of Abdul Carter, but they move up back in the first round and get him. The injuries have been tough to deal with. I don't want to get rid of this front office, but I feel like the move has to be made. After the Chargers win, when the first start with Dart at 1-3, you figured we would be okay, right? You have the 5 turnover game against New Orleans where you understand that these things are going to happen. First road start. The fact that New Orleans was even favoring that game as a 0-win team told you that they were the odds makers were telling you that this was going to be a tough place for Dart to play, and it was. And some unlucky bounces, Slayton dropping a ball, then fumbling the ball on a basic, not so tough a hit. Had Dart making a scramble and the ball just popping out of his hands, just excitement of the moment and all that. You get it, it happens. But then you come home that Thursday night and you pound Philly, and you got a vibe in that stadium like no other. And, you're thinking, geez, we got it. Then we figure we got a no-win chance to go out to Denver and win, and we go out to Denver and play lights out for 3 quarters and blow a ridiculous game in the 4th quarter. And we score points. We give up 33 points and we score points and we still lose. So For me, as I watch this, I just look at it like the offense. If we get some skill people, the offense isn't going to be a problem. The line, I think we're going to move out at right guard and be a problem. To me, I didn't think the defense was good. They just revamped it. I didn't think it was going to be this big of a problem, and it is. I mean, we're going to Chicago this week, a 3.5-point dog, which I think the line is short. I don't know that I bet us, but if we get our guys back, the line's odds makers are telling us we're going to be in the game. They can't stop anybody anyway. You saw that the Bengals put up 40 against them. We don't have the wide receivers that they do, so I don't know where we're going to have plays made from at the receiver position. But, I kind of think right now you got to bet Chicago in this game just by the way our defense will play. But what moves do we make? Are we sellers? Are we buyers? What is it? So here's what I think we ought to do. I don't think Thibodeau gets in a long-term extension. I don't know what to do with Lawrence, but I think I would listen to offers. And if it's a number one, I would jump. The rumor is in the papers today I saw that Jalen Waddle would cost a high cost to bring Jalen Waddle in. Is he good enough? Yeah. I think what the Giants need to do to help Dart's development is get a number one receiver for now. They got to find a guy who's their best receiver coming in, a guy who wants it, who kind of might want to get paid. Find that player that's a number two on another team or something like that, or even a number three on a team that can come be our number one now. And then watch him for 7 weeks and see if he's a guy we can include next year when we get Neighbors back and, draft a wide receiver and have a real core of solid wide receivers. I'm just a little disappointed. Slayton had a bad drop this week, and I'm just disappointed. I love the idea of paying him that money, but that was Barkley money that we offered him and paid him. And he is a great culture guy, and I love Darius Slayton. But looking at this roster, is he worth that $12 million? So I don't know if the Giants can even move off of him at the end of the year. But they're going to move off some people. Now, Evan Neal has been an inactive player all season long. What is going on there? Tells me right away if you can get a 7th-round pick for Evan Neal, you move him. Josh Isudu hasn't suited up, but it's a 3rd-round pick a couple years ago. If we can move him, great. I do know we need depth on the line. I don't believe it. I know we believe depth. We need depth on the offensive line. Marcus Mabeau showed okay. I think he's going to be a keeper for the next few years. I think we re-sign Elamanor and have the 3 tackles that we have. Have Mabeau flip-flop either left or right tackle or see which one he plays better. So you have the depth of tackle. I think at the guard position, we need to go get a guard. I just know Van Roten's been struggling with retirement. He hasn't been that bad, but again, we're not running the football any great shakes. Dart had 56 yards rushing, but some of them on broken plays, basically. So we're not running the ball. We're just not a physical team. Andrew Thomas back. I thought we'd be better with Andrew Thomas back, but we're not. It's frustrating. But are we blowing this up and everybody in New York wants to do it? Probably. Is it going to be sad as a fan, not wanting to see instability? Yeah. But I think it's got to start with Shane Bowen. I think he cost us 2 games. I think, again, players that don't want to play, Deonte Banks should be traded, I think, and let other players play. Get any kind of value for him, maybe a change of scenery, and he'll come in and be an all-pro corner. Seems like everybody else does here. But to me, that's what I think has to happen. The Giants have to make moves this trade deadline today, and I'm interested to see what happens. And if it means trading Thibodeau to get a number 2, I would have no problem with it. If it means trading Lawrence to get a number 1, I wouldn't have a problem with it. If it means Deonte Banks to get a 5 or a 6, realize just come off the fact that the guy's a bust, let him go. Right now we have three picks in the 6th round, a 1st, a 2nd, a 4th, and a 5th. So we have our 7 allotted picks. If we can end up with 10 picks maybe or a player, if it's a Lawrence for Waddle trade even, do we do that? I don't know. If the Waddle's requesting a number 1 pick, maybe I'd much rather do that because our number 1 pick right now is going to be a top 10 pick. So you can't get rid of it. So that means we're going to have 2 picks probably in the top 40 players. But we got it. We I don't know that we missed on Carter. I don't think we missed on Dart, obviously. So we've hit in the last couple of years. But if you go back and look at our drafts, the Banks draft was extremely disappointing. Do we re-sign Wan'Dale Robinson? I believe so. But this team has got to do something. You have to keep, if you sit and just be sellers, I don't think that's the idea, the way to go. I think you help Dart, give him the people, even get it back. Go to Dante Miller. Why not? Why not try him? What's happening with him? Is he playing? Does he have a chance to get on the field? Why not? Give him an opportunity. Especially if they lose this week, it doesn't matter anymore. Just look at players and find players that can play. I mean, the Giants of the '70s, we used to do that all the time. Find players that come out and play, and you'd find a couple. But this game this week, 7-0, you get fired up. Here we go. We got a chance, and then with 17-7 at halftime, then we get the 24-7, and then we get the ball on the goal line, and 4th and 3, and then he makes probably the decision. Yeah, you want the points, but Gano missed an earlier kick before the half after they got the turnover. So it would have made it 17-10, and now you're making a 2-score game, but you're on the 5-yard line. Use analytics, don't use analytics, but I thought maybe we had to give that a shot. But the defense, the problem we have is the defense is not stepping up, and the all running play touchdown at the end of the game was really kind of befuddling that basically we didn't have a play. So we'll be back with you Saturday. We're on with Defo Thursday. Bleacher Brothers picking some games. We'll run through the NFL slate if we can right now. Raiders and the Broncos, 9.5, 42. The record-breaking 68-yard field goal by Cam Little. Broncos laying 9.5. I think that's a rivalry game. I think the Raiders might keep it close. I don't know that I'd lay 9.5. Broncos get a huge win last week against Houston after knocking C.J. Stroud out of the game. So I just don't know in a short week. The 9.5 division game favorite should be fun to watch. Raiders are an interesting team, but they'll be without Patrick Surtain, but I still think the Raiders can keep it close, but I'm not in love with it. Falcons, Colts. Colts 5.5. We watched a good look at Daniel Jones going back to his giant ways as the Colts turned it over 6 times. Only had 4 turnovers through the first 8 games, and then turn it over 6 on Sunday. Steelers defense showed up. I saw something that ESPN ran where there was some effort calls on Patrick Queen, and Teddy Bruschi pointed it out, and Rex Ryan's questioned it. And I would tell you that if I saw that in the locker room, it would be pretty eye-opening. Immediately I saw that, I thought that the over in the Steeler game, which was one of my picks, I said, I don't know if I like that anymore, because I thought the Steelers would show up, and they were right. Sometimes little things like that point out. I'm sure these players probably don't watch it, or if they do, but there is phones and social media all over the locker room now. So in this spot, I think the Colts get caught up a little bit. Falcons miss an extra point. Another kicker miss an extra point that would have tied a game in New England. They lose by 1. I kind of like the Falcons here getting 5.5. Browns and Jets. Jets get an amazing win coming off Bengals. Browns laying 2. I think Browns were coming off a bye week. Tough game. I don't know that I like it either way. Probably tough to pull the trigger on the Jets, but we'll see what happens there with Cleveland. Fields had a great game against Cincinnati. This is not Cincinnati's defense. Cleveland has one of the best defenses in the league, so it should be really interesting to see that game. Saints and Panthers. Saints opened 4.5, went to 5.5. I like Carolina in this game after that big win, but the line's telling you bet the Saints. Tyler Shaw, first game didn't really go well, but the Panthers don't have that type of team, and they were outgained. Jordan Love made the Jordan Love mistakes that he makes. When in doubt, take the underdog. I don't have a real play on this game. Bills and Dolphins. Bills 9.5. I think they roll. Dolphins are going to probably be more of an unloader today too. Also, after Thursday night and the Bills' big win, I think it is a carryover effect. It was 8.5 yesterday. Now 9.5. I can get it before 10. I like the Bills laying 9.5 on the road. Texans won over the Jags. Boy, Jags got a lucky win last week. Houston, I don't know the status of Stroud. Have to look to that. Houston being 1, we'll come back with a pick on Saturday. Ravens and Vikings. This is an interesting game. Ravens laying 4 on the road in Minnesota. Things tell me to take Minnesota here, plus the 4. Minnesota, J.J. McCarthy looked all right. Big win. I think that's a momentum-changing win. So I don't know that the Vikings win the game, but I don't know that I can take them plus 4 So everybody in love with the Ravens. That should be a heck of a test for both teams. But I kind of like Minnesota in that spot. Bucks 2.5 over the Patriots. I like the Bucks here. Like them big. Tough spot. Patriots haven't really had this kind of a test. I like Tampa in this spot, like 2.5. Giants Bears, we talked about it. Tough to bet the Giants in any case moving forward until their defense plays a little better. Total drop from 48 to 47.5. I would like the over in this game. I don't know if there's a weather. That total might tell me weather, but there's no way I can bet the Giants this game. I'll pass or take the over. Cardinals Seahawks. Cardinals dropped from 7 to 6.5. Get a huge win last night at Dallas. Defense played well. I think that game could be closer than the experts think. I would probably take Arizona in that game. Lions laying 9 at the Commanders. I don't know if the Commanders have packed it in after all the injuries the other night, losing Luke McCaffrey, losing Lattimore, and the quarterback on a devastating injury late in the game, which I made a comment yesterday on the Defo show that do you really want to watch live betting or betting these games now when you see that our team's going to pull starters after the risk that what Washington did? Or at least control play calling, because you can't really give an RPO with your quarterback running on the goal line when your quarterback, according to ESPN stats, was hit 335 times in the last year and a half, which is more than any other player in the league. So you kind of, in my opinion, I think the Lions bounce back big in a big way against the Commanders. Rematch, this is a revenge game too. The Commanders stuck it to them last year in Detroit in divisional round, so I kind of like the Lions in the spot. Rams 49ers, boy, Rams playing very well. I don't know if we expose them. Lions telling me take the Rams minus the 3.5, but I'm not sure. Sunday night game, great game in LA. The Chargers laid 3 to the Steelers. I kind of like the Steelers in this spot only because of the Joe Alt injury, and the Steelers found their defense. Eagles 2.5. The Packers 2.5 over the Eagles. I don't know with these trades. I might like the Eagles in this spot too, with the Eagles getting a bounce back and a lift here, coming off a bye week. But that's a good line because the Packers should be a little bit ready, revved up for this game. Play to your competition game might show up. So that's the early slate. We'll be back picking games tomorrow with Defo. And just for the Giants, let's hope we do something today to keep the fan base interested. I think if we pause, that would tell me that they're going to make a move off the GM. No moves tell me that Joe Shane will be gone at the end of the season. And then also it could mean if Jaxson Dart can steal a couple of these games, we end up with 5 or 6 wins, I think he could save it. But I think anything less than 5 wins tells me that this team is going to make some major changes in the front office and on the coaching staff. So we'll be back to square one, but we'll have a quarterback. And again, I heard Boomer Esiason say yesterday, but I've been touting this for 3 or 4 weeks. You can ask Defo. Lane Kiffin doesn't jump to any of these SEC jobs that are opening up. Don't be surprised Giants don't make a push and try to see if we can get Lane Kiffin in here. Just a thought. And we will get back to you with Big Blue on Saturday. Big Gunner Podcast says, come on, Big Blue. Let's keep the faith. No more of these 2-7. Let's go out there, get a winning in Chicago, take it to 3-7.